Hey, what's going on? So guys and gals and everybody else in between, I'm definitely going to make a more detailed video later on, but just, I was so excited, I just couldn't wait to call out the hypocrisy. If Wizards of the Coast did what Pazio did, everyone would be going in for another round of, you see, this is why WotC are the biggest pieces of garbage that ever existed, and they're such dirtbags to the community, and they're such jerks to people, and hate players. But Pazio are doing it, and Pathfinder are great, and we love Pazio, and we love Pathfinder, and they're not Wizards of the Coast, and they're not D&D, so they're just going to get a pass. Couple of things. The 20-year nostalgia loop is dead on the money. 20 years ago, Dungeons & Dragons Wizards of the Coast pissed everybody off by going after, it used to be the standard course of action that rule sets got updated after 10 years. It was 10 years between Advanced Dungeons & Dragons and Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition. It was basically 10 years between 2nd Edition and 3.0 for a variety of reasons. But then all of a sudden we got 3.5 after 5 years? Not even, after 3 years. And here we are. Pathfinder came out, the first edition of Pathfinder came out almost exactly 20 years after, something. But check this out. 2nd edition Pathfinder, exactly 2nd edition Pathfinder came out in August of 2019. That means that 2nd edition Pathfinder came out almost 20 years to the day of 3.0, the edition that it emulated, that it was an imitation of, that it was a carbon copy of, dead on the money, okay? And 3 years after Pathfinder 2nd edition, all of a sudden they're announcing the revision project. Dude, 3 years later, 2000, 3rd edition of Dungeons & Dragons, 3 years later in 2003, 3.5. 2nd edition of Pathfinder, 2019, 2020. 3rd edition, second 2.5, 2024. Basically right on the money, 20-year nostalgia loop holds right to the T. This 20-year nostalgia loop can't be beat. But what's the deal? Back in the day, the 3.5 was part of this whole Wizards of the Coast are the biggest jerks. Look what they're doing with this whole money grab. But are people saying that now? Pathfinder are awesome. They're great. Even though it's totally obvious that with getting rid of the alignment, the ability scores on people's character sheets, that's a housekeeping rule. That's a housekeeping home rule on character sheets. No one gives a dang. No one cares. The Witch, that's like typical 3.5. We got to clear up these classes. They're getting a little fricassee on the board. Whatever. The alignments, that's pure, you know what it is, it's business. They're trying to get rid of that OGL and move on to Orc. Who cares? It's pure business, just like it was when 3.0 went to 3.5. Back in the day when we were little kids, right? Gary Gygax comes out with Unearthed Arcana in 1985. We all go, oh my God, these guys that care so much about the game, these game masters, these wizards at TSR, they care so much. And then later on we realize it's just business, right? They were running out of money. They needed stuff to print, so they get their old Dragon magazines. They go, take the Barbarian, put it over here with the Paladin, and we'll turn the Thief into an acrobat, and we got a book. Publish another book, right? We realize our naivete leaves us. So let's not go back to being kids, okay? Let's be adults and realize they've told us. They're getting rid of alignment because you can't copyright rules like rolls of the dice or pluses and minuses, but alignment, ooh, that's getting into a lot of narrative. So that's why they're getting rid of that. That's going to totally screw up people's games. If you think that getting rid of alignment is going to be it's no big deal. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. But why are they doing it? And by the way, weren't we all going, it's so awesome that Pathfinder sold out of all these books, right? Just a couple of months ago, we were all up in arms and loving it that Pathfinder were selling all these books. So right after they sold all these books, right after all these players spent all this good hard-earned money, then all of a sudden Pazio comes out and says, you know what? We're going to need you to buy more books. If Wizards of the Coast did that, y'all would be having a shit fit. But is anyone having a shit fit when Pazio does it? No. Why? Because you're all a bunch of hypocrites. You don't give a damn. You're just following the trends. You're just following around. You're just following the leader. It's stupid. Pathfinder is stupid. Pazio are just doing things for money. Everyone you see these third-party developers telling you they gotta get rid of Wizards for this, that, the other thing, they're all motivated by their money. And by the way, why are people buying so many third-party whatever? You can't come up with your own monsters. You can't come up with your own classes. You're just buying shit to buy shit to buy shit to be a consumer. By the way, play more. Go on to Roll20 and realize how few people are actually playing these games. Even online, people aren't playing third-party supplements. Even online, people are not playing these other expansions or whatever. So stop, okay? I'll be back with a full analysis of this 2.5 revision. It is pure proving the point. This role-playing game community is tied to the 20-year nostalgia loop, just like the heavy metal community, just like comic books, and just like movies. It is insane. Go back and look at the Wikipedia article on the history of Dungeons & Dragons. Look at the history of role-playing games. You can follow it. Go. It's like you're being in the Matrix. Look at it. 2020, August 2019, second edition Pathfinder gets released. Why? To make a better game? Nah, because they needed to differentiate themselves and be different than Dungeons & Dragons for business reasons. For business reasons, okay? And then 3 years, right on the nostalgia loop, 20 years after Dungeons & Dragons goes from 3.0 to 3.5 for business reasons, all of a sudden, Pazio's got to do it too. Has to do it? Wait, people won the war. 5th edition went into Creative Commons. The first OGL that everyone was so worried about getting taken away got bootstrapped and bolstered. There was no need for Pazio or anyone to do anything. Yet Pazio are moving forward and doing it. Why? Because it's more lucrative, it makes more money for them, and they want that Orc license to be the new OGL license. Why? Because it's the license, and it's being the top dog that gets people the money, gets them the money. Doesn't take care of the community, doesn't do things for you, doesn't make the system better for you. Getting rid of alignment doesn't do anything to help you at all. Okay? And if you think that people are going to be, it's going to revolutionize and people are going to be playing more Pathfinder than everything, okay, you're wrong. Okay? I'm sorry. Monopoly is Monopoly. If you love to play sequence, that's awesome. You're alone. Everyone plays Monopoly. Fuck you. Everyone plays Trivial Pursuit. You love to play friggin' Catamaran by the wayside because you love to you're a fan of obscure European-only board games. That's nice. Have fun playing game night with your wife and her cousin and one friend that she has. Everyone else is playing Trivial Pursuit and Monopoly like normies. It is what it is, okay? And I'll be back later with a more in-depth video. Tim Frade, Jonaside, I love you, I love you, I love you, and you're awesome. But Pathfinder was D&D, Jonaside until now, the second edition, trust me. And now that they're going into this 2.5, wait till you see. And you know what, folks? FYI, in case you're curious, no one likes to talk about it, but because I paid attention before this whole WotC brouhaha, I'll tell you something. If you think that second edition acceptance of second edition was universal in the Pathfinder community, you're absolutely 100% wrong. There were a ton of people in the Pathfinder community that thought second edition was an abortion on arrival. You don't believe me? Go to the fucking forums. It is what it is, folks. And by the way, no one plays fucking Pathfinder. It is what it is. Oh, there's so many people play. It's a hyperbolic statement, folks. No one actually plays D&D. No one plays D&D? How can you say that? 5th edition is selling more than anything. Because people buy these novelty sets, and they buy them, and no one fucking plays them. You think everyone's playing D&D? If people are playing more D&D than ever, then how come no one can find anyone to play with? Your mother. Why is everyone going online where all these YouTube people constantly telling stories about, and then my son was at the table and those kids are having, you can tell that these kids are being tortured by their parents. Anyway, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. I don't want to torture you. I'll be back later to go more off on D&D and Pathfinder. I love you. I love you. I love Lisa Stevens. I'm your private dancer. I will sell out. I am willing to sell out, Lisa. I love you. Peace be upon you.